we'll buy it. We'll buy this house like it is right now. No furnace, no hot water tank, no nothing. We buying. We can buy it. Come call me.
Fox 2 tracking down that suspected squatter who ruined a young family's dream of owning a home. Well, last night we showed you the damage left behind. Tonight we're hearing from the man accused of causing it. He claims to be a famous rapper with a lot of money. But when Fox 2's Alexis Wiley started asking questions, his so-called rap got weak. Alexis Wiley now live in the newsroom with more. Alexis, this guy was quite the character.
That's definitely something you can call him. He was angry because he says he and his girlfriend are not squatters. In fact, he says she is the victim in all this because she was scammed, and he wants to restore his rep.
Y'all just disrespected my reputation, and I feel like the people who did talk to me and look up to me, it hurt them. So I'm getting money. Y'all can look and say we getting money. We doing swell.
Yup, that's Clyde Bruner, a.k.a. Young Cartier. He calls himself a Detroit rapper, but this family calls him a Detroit squatter.
You have the indecency to move in and get upset and then destroy the place? What gives you the right?
Young Cartier, did you ever live in this house?
No, I never lived there. I was a visitor.
But you told me that you guys stayed in this house, you and your family, right?
My girl land contracted a house. I was a visitor. I got my own house. You can look at me and see I don't have to squat. Come on, with disability. I got ran over by how I don't have to do nothing. My girl don't have to squat. Come on, why would we squat?
She may not have had to squat, but that's exactly what she was doing. No one should have been living in this house. It was officially listed on July 14th, and HUD accepted an offer July 21st. And it wasn't from Cartier's girlfriend.
She lost money. She the one got told that she got scammed.
But getting scammed doesn't explain how the house ended up like this.
When she left, it was in perfect condition. That was in perfect condition the whole time. So what is all this disrespect to Young Cartier and to my girl?
Cartier says he couldn't have done it.
So I'm gonna carry out a furnace on crutches. I'm gonna put it on my head and go outside with some crutches. You tell me who can do that. I'm Superman now?
Cartier says his foot was crushed, and now he'll be on disability for the rest of his life. Yet another reason why he says he has money.
We got money. We don't have to squat. We can buy the house right now. They call us today. Contact Young Cartier. We'll buy the house today.
But while he brags about all his money and his bling, I had to remind him of what we found inside that notebook, inside the gutted house.
On that document that was left in that house, and it said income, it said 0. And it had your name, Clyde Bruner, and it said 0 income. You got money like that?
These $300 pants. What's wrong with you?
And maybe you need to change that document. Maybe you need to update that so it does not reflect 0.
We about to go to Benihana and eat good. We in the mat.
0.
Hey, come on.
Leg messed up. Don't you see that right there? That's money. Let's go.
We out of here. We out of here. We going to Benihana. I'm hungry. We got money. We in the mag. We doing good. Let's go.
So we got in the car and rode away. Probably headed to Benihana.
So this would be illegal to rent out a house that's not even yours.
An entire neighborhood preparing to revolt against an accused squatter living in the home of a 90-year-old widow. Team 10 broke the story.
And new tonight, 10 News anchor Itika Milana shows us what neighbors will do here in the next 48 hours to help return the widow to the home she's known for 60 years.
Neighbors of this 90-year-old woman have now joined in the fight to get the accused squatter out of her home. One person posted this flyer here talking about the situation, and then someone else created a Facebook page, and they are organizing a protest for this Saturday.
The outrage is growing, gaining momentum on social media. A Facebook page called Get Cheryl Sherrill Out of That House.
She has told me that this is her house.
Teresa Mohammed told 10 News Sherrill rented her a room in the college area home.
But come to find out when I saw the Channel 10 News, that's not what's going on. There's a battle between the two of them.
The two of them being Sherrill and the real homeowner, 90-year-old Fran Breslauer. She and her late husband lived there for 60 years until he passed away a few months ago. Breslauer hired Sherrill as a live-in caregiver, but when her husband died, Breslauer told Team 10 Sherrill refused to move out.
I think that she's heartless. She's heartless. How can you do that to a 90-year-old woman?
Breslauer told us both women filed restraining orders against each other. Sherrill won, convincing a judge the 90-year-old shoved and punched her. Breslauer says that never happened, yet she was forced out of her own home.
I feel this would be illegal to rent out a house that's not even yours.
But according to a very complicated web of California laws about squatters, it may not be illegal. Soon after this interview with Muhammad, police arrested her, Sherelle accusing her of elder abuse. She too now out of the home. We found this Craigslist ad, room or studio for rent, in Breslauer's home. 10 News has tried repeatedly to talk to Sherelle, but she refuses. Itika Milanes.
Yeah, and you know what? She just came home right now, but we've been waiting to speak with her all night because the homeowner says that she unlawfully walked into the house, took ownership of this house, and has been living there and refuses to leave. She just pulled up right now. And before we get to our full story, ma'am, what do you have to say about that? Are you a squatter?
No, I'm not.
Why are you not a squatter?
I would like to park my vehicle if you don't mind.
Well, we would like to know because this woman says you moved in and you won't leave, and she owns this house.
I'll tell you my credentials as why I'm here.
She says that you said this was part of a program.
I have a construction lien for the repairs that I put into the house. Someone had broken into the house on July the 4th, and they stripped the radiators, and I made a report.
But she said that you broke into this house, and you have been living here because you said that you have the right to live here.
I have a lease with her since October 9th, 2012, and then in February 2011, we had to vacate because the boiler was damaged. The only thing I own Little Egypt Publishing Company. I took all my books and my writings.
All right,
but my furnitures were still left in here.
One more thing. She also said that you said that this was part of a program, that you felt that anybody who can go into Detroit, take over an abandoned house and live there.
Well, I'm an advocate for affordable housing. That's a part of my campaign as a U.S. writing.
Did you say that to her, and do you believe that?
Well, I believe that since I met her. The first time I met her when I was running for state senate, 2010, and she was also running for political office. That was a part of my belief. I signed an oath pledging that I would fight for affordable homes.
Heidi Peterson always dreamed of living in an historical home. In May of 2010, she bought this one in Detroit's Boston Edison district for $23,000. After being away for a year, she returned home last week and realized she got way more than she bargained for.
I told her it was my house.
She says a woman was living in her house, the one who put her pictures on the mantle. Heidi learned from neighbors she'd been living there for a few months. Heidi claims the squatter changed the locks, reworked the plumbing, replaced her appliances, put a lien on the house, and even changed the curtains. And now this squatter won't leave.
She locked the door,
So now they are forced to sleep one room away from each other. Heidi with her 1-year-old daughter. People would find this odd that you're living with a squatter.
That's, I guess, something that happens in Detroit.
An unusual situation, and as we discovered, not your average squatter. Her name documented all over the house, missionary Tracy Elaine Blair, a write-in candidate for president.
Do you feel safe? I don't know. I don't know what the capabilities are. We're afraid of her mindset of entitlement.
A squatter doesn't have a legal right to the property, but under the law, the homeowner cannot remove a squatter by force. In most cases, the homeowner has to file a civil action in court, prove it's their property, and evict the squatter. That's what Heidi is trying to do.
She thinks that this is a program in Detroit to take people's homes and fix them up, and then she gets to keep them.
Because Heidi spent all of her money on this house, she says she can't afford to go anywhere else. And until she can legally kick the woman out, they are forced to live under the same roof.
I thought, if the house is not safe, how can I come here with my child? There's an issue with that. But should I lose my house to a squatter because I don't have rights to my property, or should I fight to get it back?
And Heidi also claims that things have come up missing in her house, that it's certainly not the way that she left it. But of course, you heard the woman, the supposed squatter here, and she claims that there was a lease. Heidi said there was not. We have not been able to see that, but she also says that she has the right to be able to live here if she fixes up the home. So there is clearly a lot to the story, and this is a perfect example why police don't go in when they're called and just remove someone from the house, because they don't have that proof
proof on who actually lives in the house. And that's why, like in this case, the woman has to go to court, get an order of eviction, and prove that she owns the house, and then evict the woman that lives there.
Portland home that was taken over by squatters. They did get an eviction notice from the sheriff's office, though, just today.
But tonight we found out they're still in that house. Only on 6, we confront the people living there about whether they plan to move. This is happening at a home on Southeast Franklin near the Willamette River, and we've been following this issue since last month after a viewer contacted us. Jolie Winaga live at that home tonight. What are those suspected squatters saying to you tonight, Joel?
Well, hi, Jeff and Kelly. I can tell you first off, they insist they are not squatters, but in fact, legitimate renters, something the property owner says, no way.
They're just nasty people, and they need to go.
As if Terry Brooks isn't going through enough grieving the death of his brother, he says squatters have now taken over his late brother's home.
You lose somebody that you've loved all your life, and then people prey on this situation.
Brooks inherited the house after his brother's death. He tried to sell it, but creditor fees made it not worth it. In the meantime, he says squatters broke in and started living in the foreclosed property.
I've got the paperwork. The eviction notice went Monday. 72 hours was at 9 o'clock this morning. Why are they there?
And that's what I wanted to know as well. So I paid the suspected squatters a visit. One woman who lives here, identifying herself as Julie, did talk to me, but did not want to show her face. Are you a squatter here?
No, we're not squatting here.
Julie tells me she and her roommates had a rental agreement with Brooks' late brother before he passed away.
We pay all the bills. We pay electricity. We pay the gas. We pay water. We pay internet.
Neighbors report suspicious activity all hours of the day and night. I found out the sheriff served them a 72-hour eviction notice on Monday with a court date next week. But Julie tells me everyone in this home is moving out by then.
We have tomato plants over there. You know, who does that if they're squatting?
They're telling me they're not squatters at all.
Okay, so if they're not squatters, show me a deed to the house. Show me a receipt that you're paying me rent to live there. Show me something.
All right, you want to live in a beautiful home, but how about this? No rent, no mortgage. Well, no problem. That seems to be the case for a Mount Juliet man living in a $500,000 home without paying a dime. So how can someone get away with being a squatter? News Channel 5 investigative reporter Ben Hall went to find out.
We want to talk to you about why you're in this house.
I want to talk to you about getting out of here. How's that? Does that work with you? Get that out of my face.
Don't touch the camera.
Jude Piskey didn't want to talk about why he's been squatting in this Mount Juliet home for more than 2 years.
The bank
You don't have a I don't give a
bank says you don't have a right to
You know what I got to say?
When did you move in?
Don't matter. None of your business.
Our investigation found that Piskey moved into the home more than 2 years ago, despite having no legal claim to the property. The banks that had foreclosed on the previous owners essentially forgot about it, allowing it to sit empty for years. This video home tour shows what the luxury log cabin used to look like. Attempts to sell it fell apart because of confusion among banks after the housing crisis. In late 2012, J.P. Morgan Chase foreclosed on the home, then sold it to Bank of New York Mellon as trustees for investors for a mortgage-backed security. Control over the home has since passed from Countrywide Financial to Bank of America and finally to NationStar. Meanwhile, it is sat empty. City Commissioner Ray Justice contacted more than one bank about the abandoned home, but they didn't seem to care.
I got no response, zero response.
It was about that time Jude Piskey, his friends, and family suddenly appeared at the house.
This is probably one of the most bizarre things I've ever dealt with.
Police were first called to the home in April of 2015 for a domestic dispute involving Piskey and his ex-wife. In September, police discovered a stolen vehicle at the property.
The gentleman had no connection to the owners of the property and that we could find.
Piskey actually paid the back property taxes on the home to keep Wilson County from seizing it in 2015. We found Piskey has a history of codes violations. In 2008, he illegally moved a home to a piece of land near Hermitage, forcing Davidson County officials to condemn the home.
This is just nuts.
Justice says he fields weekly complaints from his constituents about the number of cars and junk being stored at the log cabin. Are you gaming the system?
No, man, I'm running for Congress.
But as we discovered, getting Piskey to leave may not be easy. This is not your property. The bank says you have no right to be here. As Piskey walked to his truck, we didn't realize what was about to happen.
Let me see here. What was you talking with? This is my work on it. Out of here.
All right.
Go, God.
We're backing up.
No, leave, God.
We're leaving right now. Don't hit. We're leaving right now. Now, we were not hurt by all that, but police arrested Piskey and charged him with aggravated assault. He bonded out and still lives in the house. We'll keep watching to see if the bank actually gets him out of the home.
Family in Sarasota County came back from a trip to find somebody they didn't know living in their home. Turns out he was a convicted felon who'd taken over their house completely. As Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon now reports, the homeowner ended up shooting him in self-defense.
The sound of gunshots pierced the silence along Constitution Boulevard Sunday afternoon.
I just can't imagine how scared and freaked out they must have been.
And shattered the nerves of people who live here.
There have been minor break-ins and things like that in the years I've lived here, but never anything like this.
Sarasota deputies say a family came home from a weekend trip and found this man, Glenn Oliver, inside their home. Deputies say Oliver threatened them with a baseball bat. That's when the homeowner pulled out a gun, shooting him in self-defense.
It was terrifying for this family, and of course there's a small child there as well.
Deputies say Oliver broke in through a window and may have been living there for days.
It's possible because we had such a cold weekend that he was looking for a warm place to stay. We talked to his family members and he wasn't always staying at home. Sometimes he would travel around.
Deputies say Oliver had just been released from prison. He'd served a 10-year sentence for robbery with a firearm and carjacking.
He is a felony offender. He has an extensive criminal history, and unfortunately he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And apparently for Oliver, he chose the wrong house and the wrong family to target.
The homeowner was in the right in this situation. He walked into his home, he felt threatened, he shot this defendant in self-defense. He had a duty to protect himself and to protect his family.
Understand it. We gonna fight this shit to the death of us. Understand it. We know that y'all breaking the law. We know it. We ain't stupid as you think.
Hey guys, I just want to introduce you to my sister.
Hi.
No